Welcome to Money Talk Viewpoint. It's the podcast for financial professionals, CPAs, attorneys, wealth managers, and trusted advisors who work with high net worth and family offices. My name is Stuart Cruz. I'm going to be your host today. I am the founder and CEO of Cruz Asset Management. I also have I'm a TEDx speaker and have a book coming out called License to Steal: How to Turn Wall Street Greed into Your Gain. So for those of you not familiar with Cruz Asset Management, we are a fiduciary. We are also a boutique quantitative asset management firm. That means we make our investment choices using math and statistics. We run a couple of quantitative portfolios that have tended to beat the S&P 500. And we run a virtual family office, which will be pertinent to the topic today. Virtual family office means we work collaboratively with your experts, your CPA, national experts in a variety of areas on a team-based collaborative approach as opposed to individuals and in silos. So our goal is to help maximize our clients' wealth. We can do this through tax mitigation, creating advanced estate plans, helping them to buy and sell their business, helping them to create deferred compensation plans, premium financing, captive insurance, a whole wide variety of things. So we have experts working on your behalf. The reason why I think this works great is once upon a time, I was in a broker-dealer firm. I worked at Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, and the compliance would not allow us to talk to the CPAs or an M&A attorney or an estate planning lawyer because the compliance couldn't control them. But as a fiduciary, the only way I can provide you with the best solution possible is if I'm working in conjunction and collaboration with your experts. So that just seems to make sense to me. To learn more about this unique approach, you can reach out at Stuart at Cruz Asset Management or cruzassetmanagement.com. That's KRUSE, assetmanagement.com. So I'm really excited about this guest because it all incorporates the virtual family office concept. So we work with, as I said, CPAs, but other experts. And Brian Summe is going to be on the show. He is a M&A professional and working in that field. I'm going to give you a little dossier of Brian. So he's the Chief Revenue Officer and partner at Vesticore, which is an M&A and private capital and strategic advisory firm. In the past, he's run Summe Capital, where they partnered with asset management and private investment firms to assist in raising capital. He also worked as a Midwest director and senior consultant in Oppenheimer funds, helping to raise new capital, working with RIAs, broker-dealers, trusts, banks, and family offices. And they had stints as a VP at Morgan Stanley and at Merrill Lynch in business development and private placement. Brian earned his certified investment management analyst designation from the Wharton School and is also a chartered retirement planning counselor. So Brian, welcome to Money Talk Viewpoint.
Thank you, Stuart. That was a long bio of me. I guess after 34 years, there tends to be a large body of work and subject matter expertise, but it's like anything else, onward and upward, I suppose.
And we say that in our office all the time, onward and upward. So, Brian, I'm so excited to have you on the show because, as a steward of people's high net worth, and you've been extremely accommodating when coming into my network and talking to some of my professionals or people that were looking to sell their business and enter into some M&A activity. And of course, these guys are just mostly the business owners are focused on building their business. And now that they're thinking about unwinding it, they have no idea what they should be thinking about. They don't even know what they don't know, right? So I'm going to really want to jump into that. But before we get there, I'm just curious, what helped you or what inspired you to start your career in M&A?
That's a great question. And it really comes down to timing, right? I have a illustrious 34 years in the industry, as you had rattled off, and you acquire a huge taste and a body of work experience from those 34 years, and you get a great deal of subject matter expertise, and of course you build a network, which everybody listening, and that's the holy grail: access to people's time and attention and alignment, if you will. About 4 years ago, Oppenheimer Funds, where my last stay was in corporate America, they merged with a firm called Vesticore, and they at the time I said, what am I going to do? So I went in to really set up my own. I left that and set up And prior to that, I was always raising capital, public and private, mostly public with Oppenheimer funds, but designed some coaching material there, working with gentlemen like you and teams and to how to become a better wealth advisor, more holistic and address issues that back in the day when you and I started, they weren't addressing, just from the broker dealer, just go after people with custodial assets. And that's what you should do, right? So about 8 years ago, one of my friends who started, the founder of Vesticore, approached me. I have 6 children, 4 of them were in college, and he said, "Hey, come on board and help me build this out." And of course, like anybody, if anybody has children and anybody has a good thing going, you don't want to just leave and jump to something else that's more of an early stage startup. So, circa, 8 years ago, then 4 years ago, when I did that, I said, well, he approached me again. I said, well, let me walk this out. Let me become a placement. I started a placement agency, raising capital for entities or private funds and individuals and corporations, be it private credit, private equity, private real estate, etc. And then, COVID hit. Both of my parents in the Cincinnati area had passed, and of my 6 kids, my baby was 21, and I said, well, in college, and I said, you know what? I think I can. I have more flexibility to do whatever I want from that perspective. So I approached Gary Rakin, the founder of Vesticore. We're a boutique M&A advisory firm, investment bank, and he says, come in, run this, and help me develop business. And the thesis was really simple. M&A firms, we're all capable of doing the same thing, right? But I approached this and I said, oh my gosh, I have the holy grail because I have access to wealth advisors by 1 or 2 degrees in the whole country. I have access to a plethora of attorneys and accountants that I've gained, relationships with over the years, and I will be their go-to resource. So that's how I jumped in about 2.5 years ago. I came on board. I started refining everything that this boutique was doing, and I realized that I could provide something that in my doings and in my empirical data that very few, if any, M&A firms have access to. From a business perspective, is I have that 1 or 2 degree separation from every wealth advisor in the United States, right? I know what advisors do. I know what inspires and motivates them. I know how accounting firms and law firms work. And so I said, well, we'll build our thesis to be more advisor-centric, financial professional-centric, where we'll do something where most, if not all, M&A firms will not do. And that is build bandwidth around talking with accountants, attorneys, especially wealth advisors, and their business owner relationships, their clientele, even when those people are not ready to exit. And so in the last 2.5 years, I've been building out that thesis, creating formality around it, building bandwidth around it. So the unique alignment that I have with people like you, Stuart, as well as wealth advisors, other wealth advisors, attorneys, and accountants is, yes, I'm an M&A firm. Yes, other M&A firms are just as competent and capable of taking a business to market formally, competitively, and looking for the right solution, business partner, et cetera. But what we've done is we've built the bandwidth to become a service model, an arrow in your quiver, if you will, to partner up with people like you and other professionals, accountants, and lawyers, and giving access to advice, second opinions, just optionality of what they can do, whether they want to do it now or in the future. And that's the key, even when they're not ready to exit, right? And so everybody wants to do it. Everybody's capable of doing it that's in M&A, but who's aligning themselves with those professionals such as yourself? Who is providing resources and time and energy? And, legally we call it pro bono. You and I could call it stewardship. Somebody could call it an investment of time, correct? Well, we've built bandwidth around that because we know what motivates our financial professionals, an end result. But we know that if we do this, our thesis is when it comes time for them to execute in some form or fashion, partially or completely, we're most likely not going to be in a bake-off because we've developed a relationship with the steward of the world that brought me the business owner or the accountant or the attorney, and we've worked with them pro bono, air quotes, by being that aligned with them even when they're not ready to exit. And so it started about 2.5 years ago that immersed me fully into the M&A space.
Well, that's fantastic. That really fits within our business model. as you were alluding to back in the day, we're just trying to manage just a particular amount of assets. And our business model has grown to where we want to partner with CPAs and other experts so that we are managing all cycles of our clients' journey, right? I mean, they don't just want you to manage their money, they want you to help them manage their life. And they have you there to be the resource. And so as we're working with the CPA, and as you pointed out in past conversations that we've had, if you have a business owner who's over 50, they're being approached by dozens of people to have them unwind their business. And ultimately, that's probably their plan. So we're talking with our CPA partners about working with the business owners who are gray-haired over 50 like me that are potentially going to be selling in the next 3, 5, 10 years. There's going to be a percent. And we want to be able to help them pre, during, post, and have the resources to be able, and this is what all of our best clients want anyway, right? They expect this out of us. And you have other financial advisors or other people, other M&A lawyers, other CPAs, other people that are just sitting back saying, that's not my job. Kind of is your job. Kind of is your job as a fiduciary to mold that experience for their life cycle, right?
Yeah. I mean, think of it this way, and this is where I built my thesis and refine it. In fact, that's why I'm casually dressed, because I'm working with a bunch of private equity firms today that are taking me golf. Not that to any of the listeners, I don't know how to play golf very well. 6 kids, I'm running around with soccer and swimming and stuff. But nonetheless, business owners are on an island. They literally are on an island, and they're professionals, whether it be you, Stuart, or their attorney or their CPA. They're all masters of their vertical, and they do this. But when it comes to having a professional that can help them with questions, optionality, no offense to you, no offense to the attorney, no offense to the accountant, even if all of you master M&A-esque work, right? But the M&A firm, not just my firm, Vesticore, but in speaking broadly, M&A firms, we are the professional missing link, helping them get off that island, providing them what they themselves, the business owner, the attorney, the CPA, the risk manager, the business broker, can't do, and picking up where they left off. And that is taking the objectives of the business owner or business owners to market in a formal competitive process to find the right solution, to find the right buyer, the right partner, and meet all, if not most, of those objectives, right? But the business owner is literally on an island. And again, none to the listener, whether it be your attorney or a CPA, but a lot of times these business owners come to you, get answers to questions that they didn't ask, and perhaps they get a billable. What I provide to all of you that are listening, especially the wealth advisor, the attorney, and the accountant, is a resource where if you choose to perform, if we're on the phone together and you want to send a billable, that's fine. But I want to become that arrow in each and every one of your quivers, so you can use me as a sounding board to provide optionality, so all your clients know that you have a resource that can be of service to them on all aspects of their financial well-being, whether it be law, whether it be accounting, especially you, the wealth advisor is the last one standing. When a business is sold, the accountant's done, the attorney's done, the M&A firm is done, everybody's done. The only 2 people standing are the wealth advisor and the business owner.
Yep. Well, I have a whole list of boring questions that I've got for you, but what I really am curious about, to be honest with you, is, we're talking a couple of times about what the business owner, he's on the island, he doesn't really know what he doesn't know. What are some examples of some things that you've come across in your 34 years that are just probably even obvious to you, but that just kind of flew by or over the head of the business owner until you stepped in and pointed some of these things out?
Wow. I mean, I could go hours on
a zillion examples. So let's have a couple.
So, I mean, look at it this way, going back to them on an island. Believe it or not, statistics think that if you, Stuart, as a wealth advisor, were just going through your normal protocol, and what you do at your practice is very thorough and you're very holistic, and you're kind of like the owner, not the general manager, the coach, but the owner of the team on all aspects. But business owners surveyed, actually 7 out of 10 think exiting means getting out completely. And for the most part, especially if it's going up to a strategic or family office, private equity, and I'm buying somebody's business or one of those entities, you're not leaving. There's culture. There's a bridge of information that has to be, you're going to be involved with that business for 12 to 24 months plus, right? But 7 out of 10 of those business owners, they're in their mind, I'm going to retire, I'm going to sell my business, I'm going to pasture. And they actually think it means getting out. And that couldn't be any further from the truth, right? That's one example. Another example, and this is sad, but it's true, and we cloak things in reality. 4 out of 5 business owners that want their kids to take over, not 4 out of 5, but of the business owners that want their children to take over, 4 out of 5 children want nothing to do with the business. And they're currently working with their parents, fathers, uncles, or whomever. And that's a rude awakening when they go, I'm thinking of exiting, and the kids don't have the heart to tell them that they don't want it until they go through a process. And then all of a sudden they have that realistic conversation in the corner. Dad, I want nothing to do with this. And sadly, I joke about this, and it's funny, but it's not so funny to the owner. You know, kids today, whether they're our age or younger, they want to get wealthy the old-fashioned way, you know, inherit it.
Yeah.
Right? And so sell it, Dad, sell it, Mom, and then we'll figure out what to do post. So those are some examples that are going on. There's other things like, hey, I want my children to be involved, but I don't know if they can run the business. Do you have any? Can you help me? I want to sell the business, but there's some family members, and I know they're not going to make the cut